Mossy.
Keep spawning culture.
Hey y'all, it's Agar Reed, Mossy Creek Mushrooms hitting you again. Today, I want to talk about my new favorite way to inoculate liquid culture. I was actually just with a mentorship some time ago, and I had this idea while we were talking about why am I still doing needle biopsies, even though I think needle biopsies are amazing if you're having to go through self-healing injector ports. And what I mean by self-healing injector ports are these right here. This is a sorry, I had a phone call. I'm getting all these spam calls right now, but this is a self-healing injector port, of course. For those of you guys who don't know about these, called airport lids. And I mean, I still use a lot of them, though I'm trying to get away from them and not have 300 jars of liquid culture sitting around, you know, of all these test varieties. But this is great. So the needle biopsy that I published a while back, it's fantastic for getting through these, and because I have switched to a different style. Now, to be fair, this was actually brought to me by a guy named Mondo, who used to work for me. And when he worked for me, he showed me his version of the extractor lids that people use. So I use extractor lids already. His innovation to me was bringing it to the media bottle. But we already had extraction lids that look like this, right? So you can put a syringe on the end of this and have a draw tube. These are for quart jars that I pre-sterilize here and then just leave in the bag. But you can also see them right here. So this also is just one of the extractor jars, right? And so I use those, and they seal up really nice. There's a nut on the inside. I've got some B-roll of putting them together that I'll show you guys. But it's a fantastic way of bypassing needles, right? I can take a liquid culture syringe, have this in the flow hood, clean this up, open it up, and just inject liquid culture straight into the jar if I wanted to. But this right here is our symbol for a needle biopsy. So when we do the needle biopsy, this was done by our mentorship, Rose, who was with us a couple weeks ago. But in this mentorship, we did the needle biopsy and then bypassed this just by pulling the, what I've been doing is taking the needle biopsy and I'll pull it back into the syringe and then connect the syringe to this and inject it that way. But I wanted to be able to go around it. So we had Ivan and Alex with us a few days ago. I don't actually know, a few days ago, but some time ago, Ivan and Alex came up from Florida and took a mentorship with us. And when they did, I told them about this idea that I had for the needleless biopsy. It's just a biopsy of the syringe. The syringe these are already pre-sterilized. It's sterilized by gamma radiation, just the same as the needle, right? So the nice thing is that I can extract these, extract liquid culture. I'll just walk you through the whole process. First, let's talk about the lid, then we'll get back to the biopsy. So here is my 10-liter bioreactor. Just came in today. Came in today. So we've already made the lids. And you can see these. We have two quarter-inch, this is quarter-inch tube, silicone tubing. We have two barbs with lure locks. So it's two quarter-inch hose barbs on a male and then a female lure lock end. And then you just have a syringe cap, a lure lock cap, and a syringe filter. And now you have a way of extracting from this. You can use the peristaltic pump, to do bulk inoculations. You can pull it by hand if you want to, but this tube goes all the way down, and you can see right here where I've cut the tube to have a angle to it. That just keeps it from, then when I did the flat ones, they would bind up and stuff. So now you could also use this if you took this tube and changed it to the airline. This would make, you'd have to have this be an airline as well. So you'd have to take the lid off, or have a, what I would do is what I have done is a changeable end. So you cook it, you pull it off, or you uncap it, you inject your liquid culture, then you take that off and screw on another one that you sterilize, like in a bag or a jar. That will then have another syringe filter here, and then you can run air through here. Now you have a 10-liter aerated setup, right? So this works out either way, as aerated or just as an extractor. I'm using it because I've got the new Man of War stir plates, which I'm going to start selling soon on my website, but you can get them on Mushroom Media online for now. I'll have some exclusive color on mine, like we've got a white one coming out that you won't be able to get anywhere else. But because I'm using those new stir plates, I'm finding I don't need to do an aerated setup. I finally have a good stir bar setup that produces similar results to the aeration, without having to have the noise of the pumps, or anything else. And people doing the aerated setups and small setups just confuses me. But it's just not necessary. It's much better for something big, which pretty soon I'll have hopefully much larger versions of these, even the bioreactors going. But you can see here, you can do it on 1 liter bottles. I've got it on 2 liter bottles, 5 liter bottle. In fact, in the video, you'll see me inoculating a 5 liter bottle with the biopsy. So now you'll see that these have these nuts. I like to put them on the top. These are 1/4 inch hose barbs that the silicone could go on, and it's a hose barb on both sides. So you can see here, it's got the hose barbs right in there, which of course I just leave the air line up in the top so that I don't get liquid coming up and plugging up my filter, and then the extractor hose right there. Once I've got my lids made and cured, I usually just take a little bit. I take a step up drill bit. I go down. Oh crap! I can't remember the size all of a sudden, but I go just 4. That's why I like the step up, so you can just pop, 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 pop. I know it takes 4 stops, and then I've got the perfect size. I can then thread the hose barb through, and then what I do is I take it, thread it up from the bottom, and just put a little bead of RTV silicone around it, just a little spin, and that way when I thread it through, it good and seals that. And then you can take these nuts and just take these and just screw them on tight, and it creates a nice tight seal, especially with that RTV silicone. It's nice and clean. There's another way to do it. I made one just so I could show you guys. I'm not sure if the footage survived. Samantha and I had a transfer issue on the B-roll, but you see I took them through, and instead of doing the nut, I did them reversed. But you can just glob it in there and make a big thick plug of RTV silicone. I don't like this method, but it works in a pinch. So don't be afraid to get a little messy with it. It works just fine. I just don't feel like they're as strong as when you are able to secure them with that thread and that washer in the nut. So once you have your lids assembled, cured, you make your liquid culture in there, and of course you just take your Dr. Solarian's. Speaking of today's sponsor, why don't we check out that?
Introducing the future of mycology, Dr. Solarian's Elixir of Mycelial Mastery. This isn't your average culture mix, it's a revolution in a packet, crafted for the dedicated cultivator seeking unparalleled growth. Experience the visual alchemy of this masterful brew. As you mix 10 grams with 500 milliliters of water, watch the solution transform into a rich, amber spectacle, the hallmark of a nutrient-dense sanctuary for your burgeoning mycelium. This is where vibrant color meets vibrant life, setting our elixir apart from the ordinary clear liquid cultures. Prepare to be captivated. Mix 10 grams of Dr. Solarian's elixir with 500 milliliters of water, Add a stir bar for thorough integration, and sterilize the blend at 15 psi for 45 minutes. Once cooled, introduce your favorite culture into this perfectly prepared, nutrient-rich environment. Watch in awe as the elixir works its magic, unveiling a mycelial masterpiece before your eyes. Choose Dr. Silurian's Elixir of Mycelial Mastery for a mycological adventure that's as visually enchanting as it is potent.
Alright, now that we're done with today's sponsor, Dr. Silurian's, get you some. It's the best premix. I have scoured Dr. Lloyd Lung's work and other mycologists' work to really come together with a nice nutrient-dense broth that you can make with this. I've got this pretty simple basic recipe. For those of you guys who watch my old ones, that's the base recipe. Got a couple of additions, but you'll notice a difference between my liquid culture and others. Mine is a nutritive broth. I'm not going for clarity. I do all kinds of quality control tests now, including through the microscope. I use that big screen TV to scan samples of this before we syringe everything up. We now syringe it all at once, so it's only open one time, and then it's closed. And so we have reduced the vectors. We do a sniff test. If it smells like a dirty diaper, it's bacteria. If it smells like a bakery or a brewery, then we know that it's yeast. And if it smells like mycelium, oftentimes with hericium, it's bleachy smelling. But oysters, of course, like this black pearl, and look at that, just how thick and dense that is. It was made on day 63, today's 85, I think. So, nice, thick, dense broth. I should have used this already. I'm going to have to use it now, but this will be making my Spawn Masters. So it's a nice, that's what I like, that dark stuff. That's why I like Dr. Silurian's stuff so much, right? He makes some good stuff. Dr. Silurian is a combination of me and the AI that I have trained. So, anyways, I just like it because the Silurian period is the period when mushrooms ruled the world, right? They were the tallest organism. Anyways, Prototexides was the name of that. So once you have your lids made, you can just put your liquid culture in. You just do it by the batch. I mean, if you're doing a 5-liter batch, then you obviously multiply out your recipe from a 500 milliliter or a liter bottle up the 5 to 10 liters or whatever you're doing. 1-inch stir bar. If you're using the man-of-war plates, a 1-inch stir bar, I have stirred 5-gallon carboys with a vortex from the top all the way down to the bottom. And it's injecting, it's like basically distributing air. It's chopping that air up into 1,000 million little bubbles and just really dispersing it. So you get that aerated type of mic with a stir bar. And it will do 5 gallons. So because I know it'll do 5 gallons, I know it'll do 10 liters. I know it'll do 20 liters, right? So you can use these stir plates to really go crazy on it. So now that we have these pieces put together, let's talk about the biopsy. What's really cool about the biopsy is that all you need is the syringe and the source material. So a good clean plate. Always make sure that you're using fresh, clean plates. If I'm going to make liquid culture and I've got old plates and nothing else, I'll take the old plate. I will inoculate it to another plate, let it grow, make sure it's clean, and then you can go to your needle biopsy. I mean, we call this the snub nose biopsy. The name was come up by Ivan while he was watching. The bullnose biopsy. Sorry, like a bulldog with a short face. Bullnose biopsy. It's really simple. You alcohol your plate down because it's been sitting out for a while. You alcohol your cap and everything. I will alcohol the outside of the jar, but you don't want to go too crazy. It should be coming fresh out of the sterilizer, and cooled. So you then remove the parafilm. I then hook after I uncap, which you want it to dry. Don't let the alcohol. Don't uncap it with the alcohol wet. Alcohol that down, then pull the cap off, and then you alcohol this down because it's been sitting out, whatever. If you've got them left in a box or whatever, they're usually pretty good, but I usually just do it just to make sure there's no dust from the factory. I'm not really worried about sanitizing it so much as I just don't want any potential dust going somewhere where it shouldn't be, which I guess would be a vector of contamination. But anyways, the point being, you will take this, alcohol it down. You have removed the cap from your bioreactor. You can now hook this in and extract some liquid. You don't want to make your draw tubes too long on this. This is why my draw tubes are pretty short. It's because it allows me to really pull up a little bit of liquid. If you need to, you can lay your bioreactor on the side, as long as you don't get liquid into your syringe filter. So you can lean it or whatever. I just, the one I'm showing you is on a 5 liter, so you can see that even from a long draw tube, it's really from where the liquid level is. So you don't need much space. If you're going in a 10 liter, you want to go all the way up to the 9 to 10 mark. If you're going in a 5 liter, you want to go up to the 4 to 5 mark, that kind of thing. That way you've got the shortest distance. But you'll put this on, you'll extract your liquid. Doesn't matter if there's a mixture of liquid and air, you don't need much. And in fact, I like a little mixture of both. You'll then take this, unscrew it from your bioreactor, take your plate, open it, make sure you're aiming for the cleanest spot. You'll take this and just stab it right into the agar. You stab it, give it a little wiggle most of the time, because every now and then you'll have the plug stay, but you can stab it in, give it a little wiggle, twist it out, and you will have a plug of agar. It'll either be in the tip, in the bullnose there of the syringe, or it'll fall back into the syringe like you'll see on the video that I just took. Either way, it doesn't matter. You've got it in there. Now you screw this back onto your bioreactor. You just slam that plunger back down and then unscrew it. I like to draw a little bit more air from the HEPA filter into the syringe, a full syringe. Screw it back on and then purge the line. I want to see bubbles come out inside the bioreactor, because that will purge and make sure that your biopsy is not just stuck in a straw in the draw tube. After that, you can pull this out and put the cap back on. One thing to mention when you are pulling the cap off and on is that I like to bend my my hose over about a right degree to a right angle, about a 9-degree angle or so, and I like to take the cap off and on that way, the syringe off and on that way, because I don't want anything sitting straight up and down. If there's anything on my hand, the syringe, the air, whatever, I don't want it falling straight down in that tube. I want to bring that tube over, uncap it. Really, it's just when I'm messing with it. So like when I leave things alone, I'll leave it sitting straight up. But it's really, I'm worried about something rubbing off, especially off my arm or my lab coat or shirt or whatever, beard, all these dangerous contaminants I have. Once you get the cap back on there, you're going to wait. And you're going to wait just a few days. It tends to be somewhere, depending on how aggressive things are, be 2 to 5 days. And then what I'll do is I'll take that reactor over to a light source, or bring a light source to it, and then just kind of stir it around. And what you want to see is that biopsy floating in your liquid culture, but you can't see the biopsy usually when it's just the biopsy by itself. What you're looking for is what I call a jellyfish. And that is whenever the mycelium started to grow across the bottom, so it grows in much more of a flat shape, maybe a little slightly rounded off. But when you kick it up, it kind of floats and has this jellyfish kind of look to it. Once you have a jellyfish of about a dime sized, that's whenever I start stirring it like crazy. And I'll stir it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at this point, especially on these man-o-war plates, because it makes the mycelium so thick so fast. And in fact, you can see here, that's what the bullnose biopsies look like coming off the plate. And yeah, I use the 60 mil plates. I like those because I can get a lot more, I can go further with my Agar, get a lot more tries, so to speak. And I can carry, when I carry plates for, like if we do the mobile lab, or if I go out with my Nomad hood or whatever, it's nice to be able to carry a bunch of plates in Ziploc bags. If I carry the big 100 mil plates, I'm carrying far fewer. And I'm also, I feel like at a skill level nowadays, when I attempt to clone something, I almost always, at least, if I do 3 attempts on a 60 mil plates, I almost always have it. So there's that. But you can use bigger plates, and it'll give you more biopsies. And that's the way I make my liquid culture masters, is through these biopsies, either the needle biopsy or now the bullnose biopsy. And when I have that going, I can now use that to draw a syringe and inoculate another bioreactor. The biggest thing is I just don't want to expand it too far. So a needle biopsy to a 5-liter bioreactor is a lot of it. So I might go to another 5-liter bioreactor, but not for syringes I sell, usually for production. A 20-liter bioreactor or a 10-liter bioreactor will probably never be inoculated with a biopsy. What I think with the biopsies, you want the smaller vessels, so something like the 1 liters, maybe even a 500 milliliter bioreactor, something like that. But you get it going, and then you can take that and expand it. And because that's because you can take that jar and you now have, let's say, out of if you make 500 milliliters in a 1,000 milliliter bioreactor, a 1 liter bioreactor, you can pull 50 syringes, 50 10 mil syringes. So now you can make from one master 50 more bioreactors, and I would be very happy to use that in a 10 liter, 20 liter, 5 liter to expand it for bulk inoculation. So now you have 50 master syringes to shoot with. For syringes I sell, I don't expand anything nearly like that. I always expand about 3 to 4,000 milliliters total from a needle biopsy, and then I go back to slant, get a needle biopsy from slant, or go to plate and then get a biopsy from that plate. So that's it, guys. That's my favorite way now. It's so easy, so simple with the lid setups, the way you have, if you systematize it all right. I mean, you can still use a needle biopsy. You can even put the needle through the lure lock. I don't suggest that because you might hit your hand or the hose or anything like that. If you do the needle biopsy and pull back on the syringe, sometimes you can pull the biopsies into it and then do the same method. So it really just depends. It's a pretty flexible system, just with some interchangeable parts. But I like this best, the media bottles with the lid, with the extractor lid, the draw lid, or whatever they call it. There's like 15 million versions of it, and people now have 15 million different names for stuff. But either way, what I call the extractor lid. And then straight from the Bullnose. Like it's worked out really, really well for me so far. I'm just absolutely in love with it. So I just wanted to pass that on with you guys, so that you can make your liquid cultures a lot easier from our plates, or from our slants, or from your own, or your own unique genetics, whatever you guys have. So with that, guys, that's really all I have. I'm going to hit one more sponsor on the way out. Remember, y'all, keep spawning culture.
Imagine a world where the most unique, rare, and powerful mushroom strains are preserved, studied, and shared with growers like you. That's exactly what we're building with the Mycologium, a living archive of fungal biodiversity, sourced from the wild, expanded in the lab, and made available for researchers, growers, and curious minds alike. But here's the best part. You can be a part of it. If you're a bioprospector, a forager, or just someone who loves finding cool mushrooms in the wild, you can send in your samples. If you send me in a wild mushroom and I can successfully clone it, I'll send you back a cleaned up culture of it. If you send me a culture that you've already cleaned up yourself, I'll send you one for our library, ready to grow, experiment with, or add to your collection. That's right. Culture for culture. You help expand the library, and you get something amazing in return. The goal? To preserve fungal diversity, to give people access to new genetics, and maybe, just maybe, to discover something truly groundbreaking. So if you've got an interesting mushroom, a rare find, or a strain that deserves a place in the archives, send it in. Let's build something incredible together. The Mycologium, preserving fungal biodiversity, one culture at a time. Want to learn more? Hit us up, shoot us a message, and let's keep spawning culture, y'all.